Alright, Titans, it's Mr. Spilker here, and I am here to pump you up. Arnold Schwarzenegger was here to pump you up in terms of physical strength. I'm here to pump you up in terms of math. I'm going to give you math strength tonight. And we are going to be studying Chapter 8, Section 5, Part 2. So we'll be focusing on multiplying and dividing with scientific notation. So get your notes out, get them ready. Heading is multiplying and dividing with scientific notation. Alright folks, since Mr. Simpson last night already taught about scientific notation, I'm just going to jump right into this. Let's go right into how to multiply with scientific notation. To multiply two numbers that are expressed in scientific notation, simply multiply the numbers out front and add the exponents. Now this should sound familiar to you because with scientific notation, we treat that number out front just like it's a coefficient. So you multiply the coefficient, which in this case would be like n and m. We multiply those numbers out front. We keep the 10 the same, and we add the exponents. So that should sound familiar to you. Multiply the coefficients, add the exponents. So you multiply n and m, and you add a and b. This would be good to put down into your notes, ladies and gentlemen. It would be good to write down that n times 10 to the a times m times 10 to the b is equal to n times the m times 10 to the a plus b. Alright, let's go over one example of multiplication. Here we have 5.1 times 10 to the fourth times 2.5 times 10 to the third. If we go ahead and follow the directions as we just talked about on the last slide, we would go ahead and multiply our coefficients. So we'd multiply 5.1 times 2.5 to get 12.75, and then we'd add our exponents. 4 plus 3 is 7. So we would get the answer 12.75 times 10 to the 7th. Now if you think back to the teaching video from last night, you'll notice that this is not truly in scientific notation. As you can see, as I have written below, oops, this new answer is no longer in proper scientific notation form because that number out front, the coefficient, has two numbers to the left of the decimal point. And as we talked about yesterday, you can only have one. So we would need to move that decimal point one spot to the left. When you move the decimal point one spot to the left, that increases the exponent of 10 by 1. So the true answer would be 1.275 times 10 to the 8th power. Now it's in proper scientific notation form, so we can have our final answer. So just when you're doing these type of problems, always be careful, always check, is my answer in scientific notation form? If it's not, you need to put it into that form. The second operation today is division. To divide two numbers expressed in scientific notation, simply divide the numbers out front, which we would call the coefficients, and subtract the exponents. So generally speaking, this process is expressed as n times 10 to the a divided by m times 10 to the b is equal to n divided by m times 10 to the a minus b. So once again, divide your coefficients, subtract your exponents. That's the rules for dividing with powers. Alright, we are ready for a division example. We have 6.2 times 10 to the 6th divided by 3.1 times 10 to the 3rd. So we're going to go ahead and divide our coefficients. 6.2 divided by 3.1 is equal to 2. And then 10 to the 6th divided by 10 to the 3rd, we would subtract our exponents, and we would get 10 to the 3rd. Now this can be our final answer because it's in scientific notation form. As you can see with our coefficient, we have one number that's to the left of the decimal point. So our final answer is 2.0 times 10 to the 3rd. Alright, hopefully after watching those two examples, you have an idea of how to multiply and divide with scientific notation. Now that you've seen it, that doesn't mean you know it. Okay, go ahead and give it some practice here. So I want you to try these two examples. Try number 1, try number 2. Okay, right now you should pause the video, and then when you push play, it'll go to the next slide, and you can check your answers. Go ahead and pause the video now. Alright, Titans, number 1 had an answer of 1.2 times 10 to the 10th power. Once again, you multiply the coefficients, You add the exponents. And then number 2 had an answer of 3 times 10 to the 6th power. Alright, Titans, hopefully you enjoyed this video on Chapter 8, Section 5, Part 2, Multiplying and Dividing with Scientific Notation. Hopefully you have a great evening. We look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow in class. Good night.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.